Hi class, I'm here to show you how to find a scholarly peer-reviewed article on a study skill for your FS 102 class. I'm in our database called EBSCOhost, and the reason I'm using this particular database is one, because it does contain a lot of scholarly material, but also because within EBSCOhost, we do have several really strong education databases, and since your topics all involve a study skill, these are good places to be. So I'm going to start by putting my search terms in the search box, and I am going to try to find articles on peer tutoring for college students, particularly. And college students. Now, the main thing to remember when you're looking for scholarly articles is that most of our databases will have a place where you can ask for either scholarly or peer-reviewed articles. And in this particular database, you see that there is a section called peer-reviewed. I'm going to go ahead and put a check mark in peer-reviewed. That simply means that before an article is published in a journal, it goes through a pretty comprehensive review by the author's peers, meaning other scholars in the field who are studying similar topics, okay? Now, something else you could do right now is think about your date. So you don't want your article to be too old. Maybe try to stick to the last 5 to 10 years. I think for mine, I'm going to use the last 5 years, okay? Next, I'm going to put a check mark where it says full text. And what that will do is when I get a results list, all of the articles that come up in my list should have really quick access to the entire article. So not just a little description of the article, but one click away from finding the whole article. So search terms in the search boxes, very important, check mark and peer reviewed. And I also chose to limit my search to the last 5 years and to full text. And then I'm going to go ahead and link to search. And as you can see, I still have quite a few articles here, 287. I can start by looking at the titles, and you might notice the titles are on the long side, and that's often the case with scholarly journal articles because they're focusing on a very specific aspect of a topic. Okay, if you would want a description of any particular article, you could go to where it says View Details, scroll down just a little bit until you find what's called an abstract, which is an overview of the article. So reading the abstract can help you decide whether or not that article is of interest to you, okay? I'm going to go back to my results list, and as I look at my different articles, the one that caught my eye is this one over here, The 4 C's of PAL, an evidence-based model for implementing peer-assisted learning for mature students, okay? So if I want to see the different ways I could access that article, I simply go over here where it says Access Options, and you'll see there's an option for online full text and PDF full text. Now, I kind of prefer the PDF option because it is a photographic image of how the article originally appeared in a journal. And so I'm going to go ahead and link to the PDF option, and that will bring up my whole article here. Now, you excuse me, you do have to cite your article in MLA format. So if you find an article that you want to use, you want to go over here at the top and look at your tools. One of them looks like little quotation marks. If you put your cursor over that, it says cite, C-I-T-E. If you link to cite, it's going to cite your source, in this case, in the ABNT style. So you will need to use the drop-down menu to select MLA 9th edition, and it will generate an MLA citation that you can then copy to the clipboard and then paste into your works cited page, okay? Other popular options once you have an article in front of you would be any download option you could find if you wanted to download it to your computer. And then you will also see your share options and a print option. Now, the share option will give you the option of sharing a document to your Google Drive or OneDrive if you have that. You could also create a link that will always bring you back to this article just so long as you're logged into My Hat. You'll see that you also have an email option if you would like to email an article to yourself. Now, just a couple of comments about a typical research article. I had all research article or scholarly peer-reviewed articles in my list because I had put the check mark in peer-reviewed. Just some major points about a scholarly article. One, if you look at the different authors underneath their name, it'll tell you where they work or what we call their affiliation. And in most cases, you'll see that your authors are affiliated with universities. So here we see Technological University Dublin, College of Sciences and Health, Technological University Dublin, Ireland. Okay. These articles tend to be very, very long, and many of them are what we call original research articles, meaning that there's a report written by the authors who have done an experiment. So they're sort of reporting on an experiment or a study that they did themselves. And so some pretty typical sections of that type of article would be a methods section, or in this case, materials and methods. This is the section where they explain what they're going to study and how they're going to study that. For example, are they going to do observations? Are they going to administer surveys or questionnaires? So who they studied or what they studied and how they studied it. If you go down a little bit farther, you'll see that there is a section called findings. Sometimes this section of the article is also called results. This is where they show their data. Okay, sometimes it's going to be a little bit technical. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more to a section that is called discussion. So where did that go? There we go. So discussion. And so the discussion section tries to make some sense of their findings, tries to put it in some kind of context. And then at the very end of the article, often you will see a section called conclusion, which pretty much wraps it up. So those are the main areas that you're looking for. If you have any questions about finding your article or determining if it meets the criteria of the assignment, please be in touch with me or one of the other librarians. You are able to use your class discussion board to post your questions, or if you feel more comfortable, you can also email me directly at ejwygar@hack.edu. Thanks for listening and have a great day.